Hey everyone, the numbers are in for Panama City Beach real estate for the second quarter of 2025. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices. Pardon the non-sexy video background. I'm in the middle of moving offices. So um, anyway, I get asked all the time, what's selling, what are prices doing, what is it a good time to sell? So I just want to go through and give you some updates on what I see in the market and give you an honest assessment of it. We're going to talk about the detached single family market. We're going to talk about the Gulfront condo market. We're going to talk about the Gulfront market in general without condos. So you can see some ideas on what has been selling. So let's start with what has been selling. When I look at what's sold in the second quarter and you look on the beach, thought I had this loaded for you. There are 546 sales in Panama City Beach in the second quarter. A lot of people have heard how slow the market is. There were 546 closings. We're selling real estate. It is slow. I'm going to show you a little bit about that, but we had 546 closings. That is slower than last year. We look at last year, the same time period in 2024, we had 614 sales. So what is that? We're down about 12% in sales. So if you want to see what sold, bear with me for a second. I'm not going to read all this, but if we start on the beach with attached units, a couple things to pay attention to. We have 51% fewer things for sale. They're lasting on the market a little bit shorter, but we look again, there's that 12% number. We're down about 11% in sales. Here's the big one. We're down in pricing. We're down 20% in volume overall. That means the sales price is down 9%. When you look at, we won't talk about boat slips, but condos, and this is Gulf front or non-Gulf front, same deal, and you'll start to see the theme here. 23% fewer sold, 30% less actual sales volume. We're down about 9% in price. Duplex units, 60% fewer sold, 76% less volume. We're down 41% in price. Detached single family units, we have 43% fewer for sale. They're on the market less, but we're down 10% in volume. We're down about 6% in sales price. You can do the same thing looking at multifamily, quads, triplexes. So when you look across all products, we're down in pricing. But we have 546 sales. So if you're thinking about selling and you want to or need to sell, it's still happening. Some of the trends, one of the things we talk about a lot, I'll give you the short version of this. Months of inventory is a number we track a lot. The higher the number, the worse it is for sellers. That means generally it's more of a soft market. Things are taking longer to sell. This puts pressure on price. The detached single family market generally in Panama, and watch how this changes. June of this year, we were at 6.41. June of last year, we were at 5.78. So we're slightly slower if you have a single family house. Slightly, that's not too bad. If you have a single family house priced over $1 million, it'll take just a second to load. June of this year, we were at 22.67 months of inventory, where we were at 4 last year. If you have a house over $1 million, we're 5 times slower than we were last year. If you add in all the homes in PCB, we're about the same. And let me show you why this matters in the Gulfront market, for example. Gulfront market, let's take the newer buildings built since 2005. So we can, and this is what I do when I'm working with someone asking me about their specific situation of selling something. We get very specific to see what is happening in their little market to get priced the best. Gulfront condo market got as high as 22 months of inventory, 19 months of inventory in June. June of last year, it was 6 months of inventory. So the Gulfront condo market is 3 times slower than it was this time last year. And look at how that relates to price. When this number is just poking along about the same, maybe moving up a little bit, price is sort of poking along, it's about the same. When the number starts to move up, prices start to move down. From February of 2024, the average sales price on a condo was $714 down to $468. The median price was $634 down to $473. That's just in the condo market. And two more things, and we can do this with any market you want. If we take this back a little further to give you some perspective, let's see how high this number is. I'm going to go back to before COVID and even before the hurricane. So going back to 2016, let's see what this pulls up. It'll take just a second. One of the things I'm going to show you is just how slow the market is, how high the market is. The real estate market in Florida and Panama City Beach specifically has been very, very good leading up to COVID and then exploded in COVID. We all know that. And then it started slowing down April, May of last year. Not a lot of us felt that if you weren't paying attention to all this every day like an agent does. But look at how slow the market is compared to, this is the first month of COVID, April 2020. When we didn't know if we were going to sell a condo again. This is just the condo chart. We're more than twice as slow as the beginning of COVID. One more way to look at this, and I think this is what is most impactful, and I think if you own real estate, well, and if you're thinking about buying too, it just depends on what your perspective is. But look at this going back let's go back 8 more years to March of 2008. So remember, this is now 2008, 2009 financial crisis that was tied mostly to housing. And let's see how high this number, remember the months of inventory number for this chart, Gulfront Condos, is 19 in June. The highest it ever got, the slowest month of the housing crisis was 1 month where it hit 21. Most of the housing crisis, it was around 13, 7, 10. It exploded once in January, which is probably not a lot of people writing contracts around the holidays, to 21. So if you're looking at the Gulfront condo market specifically, last month we were at 22, slower than the slowest month of the 2008-2009 financial crisis. A lot of slow in the market, a lot of depreciation in the market. So a couple things back to, hey, is it a good time to list? Your personal situation, of course, is always going to dictate that. And so many things will matter. If you're selling a house, the lot you're on, the neighborhood you're on, the condition of your property, if it's a rental, what your rental revenue is like, all those things. Gulfront, any kind of vacation rental revenue is always a big one. Condition is always a big one. Of course, location always matters. If we're in a depreciating market and some of these are depreciating more than others, if this is just an asset for you and it's simply maximizing numbers, selling sooner rather than later is better. Of course, why wait 6 months if we look like we're depreciating still? It's a little tougher in residential single family, attached single family, where people live as a primary, to see where things may be going, because so much of that relies on the interest rate. But some other things like vacation rental properties, Gulfront condos especially, where there's really some clear depreciation and some really high months of inventory numbers. If you aren't selling very soon, realize that one of the risks you may face would be that prices may be lower 3 months, 6 months from now, 9 months from now into the spring market next year. And it very well could take us some time for pricing to work out. If we go back 2008 to 2016, look at what happened with price. Price went from, in the financial crisis here, this is 2008, this is 2012, outside of one spike, we didn't get all the way back even to these numbers. 7 years later, we're approaching those numbers. So I don't think it's unreasonable, and if this is my job to help people evaluate their situations, I don't think it's unreasonable the recent high prices we've seen, especially in the Gulf front condo market, but maybe some other places, it could take us some time to do this again. It could take us some time we already hit the top. We may need to depreciate. This took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years to sort of figure out and get to the bottom. And then we started climbing again. And this is, another 5 years, and we didn't quite get back to those numbers. I don't think it's unreasonable that if you own real estate and you're not thinking about selling anytime soon, that it isn't in your plan, unless you have a life change or something like that, that you may be better off financially holding for a long time. The market's changing in Panama City Beach. There are a lot of good things coming. McGuire's is already open. Dolly Parton's Pirate Voyage is already open. Topgolf's open. A hospital is being built. Tremendous infrastructure projects are helping. So our market will be different in 2, 3 years from now with some road systems, 3, 4 years from now with a hospital. Those things all help the market. So it'll be interesting to watch between now and then. But the fundamentals of real estate, I think we have to keep an eye on values. I do think there still is some risk to the downside here. We'll keep an eye on it. That's the point of sending out these updates. I know a lot of you are already on my email list. If you want to sign up for it, give me a call, shoot me a text, 850-290-0417, or an email at craig@durangroupfl.com. I know a lot of you are also receiving these specifically for your neighborhood or condo project, where I break it down very specifically. If you want your neighborhood and you aren't receiving it now, same thing, get in touch with me. I'll put one together for you and crank that out on a regular basis so you can really follow what's happening in your area. Because again, real estate's very local. Location matters, neighborhood matters, condo project matters. So I hope this helps. Again, I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Thanks for watching.